Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. The Serie champions demolish the Champions League finalists, Inter Milan 3-1 at home. And guys, there was absolutely no story here today. Definitely, we were the better team. Inter, man, I just hope that on the 10th of June, they show up with something a little better to represent Italian football, because today they did not show that they are a Champions League finalist. Or maybe it's just that Napoli is that good, and maybe it was us that deserved that spot. But let's stick to Serie A football. Let's stick to this game here. And I want to start at the end, guys. I want to start by highlighting Gaetano's goal. Gaetano is the first Neapolitan to score after Lorenzo Insigne for Napoli. What a moment for that young man. He came through the youth system, is in the first team this year, champion of Italy, and gets his first goal under Curva B against Inter Milan in a packed stadium as a champion of Italy. Wow. That man is literally living my boyhood dream, which is, I mean, I got emotional for him. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what he's going through right now. It's incredible. I love Gaetano. I think he's the guy that basically just wants to be part of this team. You know, it's his dream, and he's done it. He's won a Serie A title. He scored a goal this season. Man, I have no words to express how happy I am for this guy. It's incredible. It's incredible. Anyways, let's see what some of the comments are saying. Make sure, guys, by the way, that you are smashing that like button, because this was an incredible game of football, and those guys on the field deserve to see our love. And what better way to do that than to smash like buttons? I promise you, if I ever meet one of them, I will tell them that you guys smashed the like button for their performance today. So, yeah, I mean, incredible display. It's been over a month since we've seen something like this. We haven't seen a Napoli like this since the Torino game before the international break. I don't know why it's taken them so long to play like this, why they came back after the international break a little bit spent, but it seems like going up against a team that beat us earlier this season, and going up against a team that, you know, didn't directly take our Champions League spot, but is definitely in a place where we feel like where we should be instead. I think that gave them the fire that they needed today. And I think a lot of the players wanted to prove also to the media that, you know, they're still training hard. They're still fighting, because, you know, they've been slated a little bit for their undertone performance. But at the same time, that happens. You know, guys, I live in Barcelona. Barcelona just won the title, and last night they lost 2-1 against Sociedad. It happens. Once you win the title, you know, it's very hard to keep up that same sort of intensity, or when you're so close to winning it like Napoli was with 20-point lead. So it happens. But mamma mia, Gaetano, what an amazing story for him. I just can't stop thinking about that. You know, I know this is Napoli Inter, but for some reason all I can think about is a guy, basically we just seen him realize his childhood dream. He started crying underneath the fans. It was just, incredible. I've also done a poll to ask you guys who the man of the match is. So start voting. A lot of you right now are saying Di Lorenzo. There's a few people voting for Gaetano. He's not the man of the match, but I don't know, maybe, right? I mean, how are you going to remember this game 30 years? Oh, 30, that's too much. How are you going to remember this game 5 or 10 years down the line? Maybe you're going to remember it as the first time Gaetano breaks into this team, like really, because obviously he started other games and he's played other games, but this is the first time he's really now become a core part of this team by scoring a goal against Inter. And who knows what his trajectory will be like in the next 5-10 years. And we might look back at this a bit like how we looked back at Insigne's first goal against Parma, 20 million years ago. So who knows? Maybe he is the man of the match, even though obviously he came on like in the 80 whatever minute when the game was already won by Napoli. Right, let's get to some of your comments. Hafiz Yusuf says Spalletti messed up with the substitution. Now, let's go over Spalletti's substitutions, because I feel like they're gonna give people some mixed feelings. So let's talk about them one by one. So Juan Jesus comes on, and we can see the goal. And I've been letting him off the hook, I think, in some of my other videos, saying, it could have happened to anybody. Or it wasn't his guy to mark, this and that. But now I'm starting to see the pattern that whether it's directly or indirectly, it seems like every time we put on Juan Jesus off the bench, we can see the goal. It's a lot better when he starts games. When he starts games, he's actually pretty solid, but it's just when he comes off the bench, I don't know. And now I'm starting to see it, and I feel like, for example, some guys on this chat, like Payman Dadgar, he's been saying it for a few times that he doesn't like Juan Jesus. And you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll say that he's not the best coming off the bench. Having said that, he is the guy that recovered the ball to then make us score the third goal. So, you have to let go of something to get something, maybe. Maybe if Juan Jesus didn't come on, Gaetano would have never scored, right? So I'll take that. Then, Politano, he came on, didn't really do too much, had a shot on target. I think he could have passed the ball instead. We had Raspadori and Simeone that came on. I didn't really like Raspadori. He came on, tried to do a few things, actually lost the ball when Inter scored. Then he tried to go around Onana, and then he tripped over himself. So not the brightest of appearances. Simeone, likewise, he actually had a goal which was ruled then off, but it wasn't his fault, right? And actually that goal should have stood, and we'll see that later. So you could say, he came on and he scored a tap-in, but at the same time the ref disallowed it, so I don't know if I can count that or not. And then he did miss an absolute sitter on the volley later on. Not the easiest of strikes, but still, you expect a guy like Simeone to at least hit the target. Maybe he was, maybe a little bit distracted from the fact that his goal had been disallowed a few minutes earlier. And then obviously we've got Gaetano, who we talked loads about Gaetano, guys, but obviously we're going to talk about Gaetano before anybody else, because we've been singing praises for everybody, and it's finally time to give some praise to some guys that never really, get the attention. I want to shout out Payman Dadgar. I was just speaking about you with 2 donations. Thank you for, I would say, a combined total of £6.98. So thank you, Payman, for all the support this season and in the past seasons. And he says, fellow champion, can you please explain Spalletti's obsession with Jesus? Why are we not kicking this guy out? Dom, was a goal not a foul? Feel bad for Osti. Yeah, so the goal, the one that Simeone scored, for me, is definitely not a foul. We'll see the replay later on. The one that we scored with Gaetano, Jesus does go on the back of the Inter player. At the same time, I feel like with this ref, it's the type of thing that, he just plays advantage for. And honestly, with the way that he disallowed our goal earlier, hey, it's fair game, what we did there. Now, can I explain the obsession with Jesus? Look, I just think that Spalletti said in recent weeks or in recent days, that he's going to give people some playing time, right? Some guys that haven't played a lot. So I feel like that's why he brought on guys like Gaetano, Juan Jesus. We've got really, I wouldn't say nothing to play for, but if you're going to give these guys some minutes to, wave goodbye to their season in front of the home crowd, this is one of the 2 games left to do it. So that's why he's doing that. I'm sure Ostigard will get a chance in the next game. And as I said before, Juan Jesus, I don't mind him when he starts games, but when he comes off the bench, I don't know. Maybe he just needs some time to get into the game. I don't know what it is, but I would avoid that from now on. Obviously, we renewed his contract for next season, and I think the role that he plays is much more a role for the dressing room, right? He's very experienced. He, is able to speak many different languages: Portuguese, Italian, English, maybe even some French or Spanish. I think that's really good for the changing room. He's a chill guy. If he plays, great. If he doesn't, he's never going to complain. He knows Spalletti, so he knows how the guy wants to train. He knows the intensity that's needed. The younger guys are going to look up to how Juan Jesus trains. And as I said in other videos, every coach wants a player like that. Sarri has it with Hizai. Spalletti has it with Juan Jesus. These are just guys that give everything in training, are great people in the changing room probably. And that's probably the reason why he renewed his contract. He's definitely didn't renew just because of his football skills. Right. Lots to talk about today. And I want to get to all the comments. But first, let me also give a shout out to Mike with the $5 donation. Thank you, man. Support this channel a lot. And he says, which club do you support? Are you from Indonesia? Are you rooting for Inter or Man City in the Champions League final? I don't think that question is directed at me. I'm not from Indonesia. Although some of you that have been watching this show know that I lived there in the past. But let me see who he's talking to. I'm going to scroll up. All right. I'll try to find it. I'll try to find it later because I can't find it right now who he's talking to. Maybe let's start a different poll later on. I'll give this one 15 more minutes, and then I'll make a poll about who people are supporting for the Champions League final. But right, let me get to all your comments, all right? Sufus Koba says, I'm just saying it, Di Lorenzo is better than Maradona. What a goal, what a player, what a capitano. Honestly, that Di Lorenzo strike, Maradona would be proud of that left foot strike. Di Lorenzo, man, 3 goals this season, and they're all absolute either bangers or super essential. Like this one here, the one that he scored, I believe it was against Salernitana. The one that he scored, I think it was against Lecce, or there was one against Empoli. He scored more than 3 actually. All super, super important goals. And I was making a video earlier about, so it's a little preview here, about the reasons why Napoli won the Scudetto. And I tried to find reasons that are, not surface level, like, Osimhen scores a lot of goals and Kvara is really good. Like, we all know that stuff, right? Like, any average football fan would know that. I was trying to find reasons that are, like, a bit more under the surface, and I was tempted to put Di Lorenzo as one of the key reasons, and then I didn't, just because I feel like doing a whole separate video just on Di Lorenzo. So I'm going to park that for now. You're going to watch a video where I talk about other reasons, and then I want to do like a special on Di Lorenzo because he's just been incredible. Just incredible this season. So, yeah, I think he deserves it. And he doesn't get the praise that guys like Osimhen and Kvara get. So I want to give him a shout out like this, and he's the captain and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's worth doing. And then over the summer, maybe I'll do some stuff on Kvara and Osimhen and all that good stuff. RM Bafoshki says, Forza Napoli, Forza Gaetano. Ciao everybody, I love all the goals of today. Just wish Simeone would have scored also. He's a great player. Yeah. I think that's already now 2 or 3 goals that he's got ruled off, which shouldn't have been ruled off. So whenever you see at the end of the season his goal tally of the year, it should be 2 or 3 more. But refs have been horrible with him. Sufu says, I really hope Spalletti stays for next season, but it looks like ADL is doing ADL things. Dom, what's your opinion on these rumors regarding Spalletti? I have a very unique opinion about this, and I do want to make a video about it. So I'm gonna keep my opinion for that. But I think we shouldn't worry. That's what I think. But I'll go into it more in a separate video. I just want to release the other one first, then make one on Spalletti, then make one on Di Lorenzo. If only I find the time to do all that stuff. But yeah. Maximus says, if Spalletti leaves, that would hurt. Is ADL not comfortable with Napoli supporters liking him? Is that the problem? I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's the problem at all. So yeah, as I said, I'll talk about the Spalletti stuff later. Soul Flow says, why was Kim subbed out? He rested last game. I think they're just trying to make people play, right? So this time it's Juan Jesus comes on. Next time it will be Ostigard. They just, we won the title. It's a good way to have people reach a certain minimum number of appearances for them to play in front of the crowd. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing to play for. And also with regards to Kim, he's played a lot this season, and I feel like, we don't want to accidentally damage the guy. Like it's about time he takes a rest. And if they were thinking of selling him, which it's not like Napoli want to, but there's obviously people interested, then it's a bit risky to have him play 90 minutes uselessly, right? Because we've already won the title, this and that, and maybe deep down Napoli doesn't mind cashing in 50 to 60 million for him, even though I hope he stays. I hope he stays, but I don't know what De Laurentiis has in his head. I don't know why. Right. All these questions about Spalletti and the replacement, and I'm not gonna get into that today. I'm not gonna feed the Spalletti leaving rumors. Not today, at least. Right. So let me scroll down to some more recent comments. Osam Comedy agrees that Juan was very poor, very bad today. Trending Viral says, what do you think about Osimhen reaction to being substituted? Right. Well, that surprised me. I'll be straight up honest. That surprised me because Osimhen has always been super supportive of people coming on for him, of teammates taking the penalties, of teammates scoring. And we've seen it, for example, in the game against, Roma earlier this season, where it was 1-1, 10 minutes to go. Spalletti subs him off for Simeone, and Osimhen was totally cool with it. And then Simeone scored, and he was the first one to celebrate. And you'd think that at that point in time of the season, he would be way more upset about getting substituted, right? Like, you're tying the game. It's still, the title is still up for grabs. And now to get this mad when you've already won, like it's a little strange. But I guess it also makes sense that now that we don't have anything to play for as a team, we should actually value individual targets a bit more. And Osimhen has an individual target to reach, which is maybe a certain number of goals in the season, because I think once he reaches every 5 goals that he scores, I think he gets bonuses, right? So for him, missing 20, 25 minutes of the game, that's taking him, a step further from reaching that specific bonus. It could be money related. It could be something like that. It could be something to do with, one thing is taking him off with 10 minutes to go, like he did against Roma, even if it's an important game. And one thing is taking him off with 20, 25 minutes to go. And, Osimhen just wants to play and maybe just wants to improve his stats at the club. And it's nothing to do with the money. I don't really know. But it's definitely one of these 2 or 3 different reasons. Maybe it's a mix of everything. But at the same time, Simeone deserves playing time. Remember, he is a guy that scored 18 goals last season for Verona. In previous years at his other clubs in Serie A, has been one of the best strikers in the league. And he's been quiet all season, hasn't said a word about wanting to play more and this and that. And he deserves playing time as well. Like, this is a great time to be in the Napoli team for everybody. Everybody should get a chance to play. And you should be supportive of your teammates if they get subbed on for you, especially the ones that don't play a lot. But Valerie is also saying that perhaps Spalletti took him off because then it would allow Inter to attack more. And if that happens, then Napoli can counter Inter. And we definitely saw a bit of that happen. Once Osimhen came off, Inter relaxed a little defensively and actually allowed 3 goals past them, and 1 was disallowed. So, actually Spalletti making that substitution is maybe what led to Napoli winning the game. Who knows? It could be a Spalletti masterclass. Payman says he knew that Osimhen would lose it. He did it the last few times. He wants to be top goal scorer. He still celebrated all goals. Yeah, I don't think the top goal scorer thing is going to be an issue. He's 3 goals ahead of Martinez with 2 games to go. It would take Martinez outscoring him by 3 goals in 2 games. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but even if Osimhen just gets 1 in the next 2 games, Martinez would have to score 2 and 2 or 3 and 1 or 4 and 0, and that's just a lot of goals to score. That's going to be, I think, difficult to catch up to him, but I guess I understand him. Like, 3 is not impossible. Maybe if he was 6 or 7 clear, maybe he wouldn't be upset at all with being substituted out. Cube says Kim needs to go to Korea to have short military training. Yeah, so Kim's military training, funnily enough, is between the 1st and 15th of July in a 2-week period, which is the only 2 weeks where Kim's release clause is active. Now, I'm not an expert on how things will shape out, but basically, if a club activates that release clause, is Kim physically able to go there and, make a medical to sign the contract? I mean, everything is done, I guess, online nowadays. You can send some guy like a PDF to sign. And so maybe that's, not an issue, but still, I mean, it's not easy. If the guy's in military training, it's not like he's going to be on his phone checking his PDFs and emails every 5 minutes. So who knows? Maybe that's something in our favor. I don't know. Or maybe a little hint by Kim, setting up the military training during that period by saying, hey, look, when my clause is active, I'm going to be unreachable by the media, by other people, because I just want to, focus on me, or I want to stay at Napoli. And by doing this, there's absolutely 0 chance of speculation. I don't really know what that happens with Kim. I did today record a video with a Man United YouTuber called Said TV, and I explained to them Kim's playing style, this and that. So I'll share the link when that is out. And I did give him, though, a 60% chance of leaving, which I think is fair. I mean, he's got a release clause. Man United can pay it. They can offer a better salary. So it is slightly more likely than not that he does leave. I really hope he stays, though. Transfer market opinions, asks Sufus Koba. Pulisic, Takefusa Kubo, Samar, the Udinese player. I can't pronounce his name. I have a feeling we're going to get that guy that I can't pronounce his name from Udinese. I also would really love Dominic Szoboszlai from Leipzig. These are super difficult names to pronounce. And we're going to have, remember how Borussia Dortmund a few years ago had guys like Berenzinski, and, okay, Lewandowski's easy, but they had just like a bunch of Eastern European names in that team, and commentators were like the worst nightmare for commentators. And I think we have the risk of turning into that, and I'm going to make a fool out of myself mispronouncing all those Eastern European names. Yeah, I mean, it was already hard enough with Kvara, but thank God we've got a little abbreviation, and we can say Kvaradona, because some people still struggle a year into this. Some people still struggle to say his full name. Right. Let's go now to, if we have the right amount of likes, 49 likes, guys, come on, you can do better. Few more likes and we'll go to the player ratings, come on. Or no, before that we'll go to the analysis of the game. We'll go over the best moments of the game, but I need you guys to cooperate with me here. All right. So let's see how that goes. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out if Spalletti says anything with regards to the game, whether he stays, whether he goes. So yeah. All right. I think Spalletti has already started his press conference, so it's not done yet. So that's gonna, be something that evolves over time. But we can start with the match analysis. We got nice. A lot of you actually smashed that like button when I asked you to. Nice. You guys are nice people. All right, let's start. Hold on. Let me set that up. Because I actually haven't set it up yet. So here's some stats for you in the meantime, while I remember to set up the match stats. 1 second, guys. Or set up the, you know what I mean, guys. Don't make me multitask. I'm a guy, I can't do that very well. All right, we're ready. Boom. There we go. Let me make that a bit smaller. And we're ready. We got the presentation up. All right. This is what I normally do before I go live. I just got very distracted by Gaetano's goal that I forgot to do that earlier. All right, we're ready. All right, so a few things I wanna highlight in this game, right? And by the way, I hope you guys still do keep smashing that like button. A few things I want to highlight. The way that Elmas and Kvara tracked back today was really good. And they did it perfectly, because let's look at this situation here. 5 minutes into the game, Inter launched the ball forward and Barella's there, and you've got Di Lorenzo a little bit out of position, actually a lot out of position, and you've got Rahmani covering Barella, who made the run. And if Elmas is not there to intercept that pass, if he's not that close, then potentially that pass goes to the Inter player, who then has the whole goal at his disposal, to run into. So, if Elmas is even just a second late, the pass is played and we're screwed. Instead, Elmas was on it, and he did that continuously throughout the game, and Kvara as well on the other side. So congrats to the wingers for tracking back so efficiently. Right, now, Napoli, what they did amazing today was that they played extremely well, the three midfielders and the wingers with each other. They were super compact, super tight, and that allowed them to outplay Inter. Now, the last few times that we've played Inter, we've criticized Napoli for playing these outrageously stupid and long balls from left to right of the field, and then you would have Inter players swarming in the middle and intercepting, and we'd be exposed, with the guys attacking us centrally. So Napoli this time, paid attention to my advice and brought everyone closer and started playing these little 1-2s around the Inter midfield. And because, the Inter midfield, they're not the most delicate guys, they fouled us a few times. And this is an example here with Gagliardini fouling Di Lorenzo on the 5th minute, with Di Lorenzo playing a 1-2 Lobotka. But this happened all the time. Di Lorenzo, Lobotka, Anguissa, Zielinski, they played these very quick 1-2s around the Inter players all throughout the field. It didn't matter if this was in our third, in the middle, in the final third. We went and said, you know what, you're a physical team, but we can move the ball faster, and if we do that, you can't catch us, so your only option left is to foul us. And I thought Napoli was moving the ball around exquisitely well today. Then we had this strange free kick situation here. I've never seen a free kick from a relatively close position without any person in the wall, and no one marking that zone there. So Zielinski sees the opportunity, makes the pass for Anguissa, and Anguissa here, he's got the opportunity to just play the ball bottom corner straight in front of him. I don't think Onana would be able to reach it. He's already kind of leaning towards diving the other side. But instead, Anguissa decides to pull it across. I don't think he's close enough to do that. I think that would have been way more effective if he was 2 or 3 steps closer, to pull it sideways. But when you're in that situation, I think you just gotta smash it straight in front of you. But it was an early sign that Anguissa, he was fired up. Anguissa was fired up, man. He was ready. He was ready to go. And before I continue, I just wanna see the comments if there is anything new that came out. Valerie said he didn't like Elmas today. You know what? I think he had a very different role to play than the usual Lozano and Politano, and we'll go into that. And as I said, I think a lot of the work that he did was making sure that he was defensively aware so that Di Lorenzo could then find advanced pockets of space, and maybe that helped Di Lorenzo's performance today. But what Elmas gives you, and we'll see it later on, is that he doesn't stick to the right-hand side religiously, right? He kind of just moves around. Wherever there's the space, he'll go, and I like that. You need to be a bit more fluid when you play against a team like Inter. It's the same sort of thing that I said when we played against Milan, when we played against Inter last time. I didn't like that our wingers were always pushed out wide all the time, always the same stuff. Elmas gives you that option of, sometimes he's wide, sometimes you see him on the other side of the field. So, he's just a bit more fluid with his positioning, and it gives Inter less points of reference. Cube says, during the military training, you are not allowed to contact with anybody outside of camp. I don't know how they do nowadays, but when I was in military training, 2012, I called my family 1 minute. So that's going to be difficult for Kim to communicate with his agent. Imagine his agent's dude, I got this amazing deal for you. If Kim can't give his consent, I don't think his agent can do anything. Right. I also like the comment by Osam Comedy. It's very It's very fitting with his name because it's a very funny comment. He says, AC eliminate Napoli, Inter beat AC, which are beaten by Napoli, and then Inter will beat Man City. Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that's going to happen. I honestly think Inter's going to beat Man City. Inter are a cup team. They've played cup finals before. I mean, so have City. But I feel like Inter could do the double this year, you know? Not Serie A. Coppa Italia and Champions League. Anyways, let's move on. This is what I was talking about with Elmas, right? You've got Kvara on the left and Elmas, who's a right winger that's actually playing in that pocket of space like a number 10 would. And this is a position that you would never find Lozano or Politano playing. And, you know, this is what Elmas gives you. It's just, it's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. Having said that, I mean, the offside line that Inter are playing here is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I don't understand why Bastoni, I think it is, doesn't just step in and play Osimhen offside. It's incredible the amount of space that they left him here. And yeah, it's just very, very risky. But I guess they weren't interested in that. I think Simone Inzaghi just told the Inter players, look, follow Osimhen even to the bathroom. I don't care about the offside line. Just stay on him. Right. And then again, you know, we played these great little balls through the midfield. Inter, they didn't pick up other players nearly as aggressively, right? Like, there was no one on Anguissa here who made a great run. Gagliardini, totally unaware of what's going on behind him. And Anguissa here takes a touch, turns with his left foot, hits the post and goes out. And we see later in the second half how when it finally falls to his stronger right foot, he changes the outcome of that. Then, you know, this chance was the only real chance that Osimhen had all game. He was starved today of chances. But I just want to highlight here again, Elmas, you know, we saw him earlier in a different position. Now we see him here. He gives you that. And what he does is that he can play centrally, he can play on the right, he can dribble through straight. Whereas, for example, you got a guy like Politano, he can only either cross it on the right foot, which he's done this season. Previously, he didn't used to do that too much. Or he goes all the way around for his left. Elmas or Lozano as well, right? He can cross it with his right, or he tends to not even go around and follow the edge of the box. But what Lozano does is that he tends to go like diagonally in the direction of like the halfway circle if he turns back. What Elmas does is he can go like straight in, right, left. I don't know. I just like it. I just like him playing there, honestly. And it's also thanks to him that we scored a great goal against Juventus when he crossed it from that position. So, yeah. I mean, maybe this is our new right winger for next season. Who knows? I certainly don't mind seeing him there. I don't know what you guys think. I'll make a poll actually about it. Should Elmas play right wing next season? Or, I don't know, a better question. I'll do a better question. What is Elmas's best position? Hold on. What is Elmas's best position? Right wing, left wing. Oh, the mic cut off for like 2 seconds. The mic cut off for 2 seconds. All right, I know that the mic cut off. I know the mic cut off 2 secs. Hopefully that's fixed. It's already fixed. I'll put that in the chat. So it seems like every time I end a poll or start a poll, there's a risk that the mic cuts off. But now I know your game. YouTube, I know you do this to me. I will not repeat that mistake that I did a few weeks ago again. So yeah. Vote. And by the way, the other poll that I did, a lot of you think that Di Lorenzo is the man of the match, then Anguissa, then Gaetano, then Zielinski. Right, let's move forward with the analysis of this video. Here, Gagliardini is super lucky. And this is still in the first half. Super lucky not to get sent off here. He's already on a yellow. Doesn't come anywhere near the ball. Look at how high his leg is. Like, and the ref is right there. The ref has to give a second yellow here. I am totally against the opinion that, it's the first half, we shouldn't give him a red card unless it's something super nasty or unless he made a mistake like 20 times. No, come on. This is a second yellow. Take him off. So, yeah, I was a little mad here, but, a few minutes later, maybe 10 minutes later, he finally does get sent off. Anguissa intercepts the ball, and this is why I think he's man of the match today. He scored the first goal. He intercepted this ball here. Looked lively all throughout the first half, and this changed the game. This put Inter at 10 men, and Gagliardini gets sent off. Committed 5 fouls in 40 minutes. Fair way to go off, and it's ridiculous how this player is still playing for Inter. He is shockingly bad. Now in the second half, we had things under control. Inter, obviously with 10 men, didn't dedicate a lot of people forward at the start. And in fact, whenever they did, like in this case Lukaku, you had 3 guys on him. Kim, Rahmani, and Lobotka. And between the 3 of them, they always managed to deal with the situation. The only time Inter became a little bit more dangerous was when they brought on Dumfries, they brought on Di Marco, and all of a sudden you have these attacking wingers that comes right down the side of the field. But when they didn't have that in the first half and in the first part of the second half, Inter were not dangerous at all. This was easy for Napoli to deal with. And now we get to the goal, right? And the reason why I love this goal from Anguissa, and I think it's going to be a little bit underrated, the movement of the other players, because Anguissa, it's a great strike, but look at how many people are in the box occupying Inter defenders. You've got literally Osimhen, Elmas, and then the 2 fullbacks. You've got both Oliveira and Di Lorenzo in there. They're both super high up the field. This is incredible. They're even higher up than Osimhen, right? And what this does is that this just pushes the Inter defenders into position there. And then when you've got a guy like Zielinski on the ball, he can pick out a great pass to Anguissa, who makes the run. There's nobody around him because all the Inter midfielders and defenders are picking up who they think is a bit more dangerous. And obviously they don't want to get too far away from Kvara. So Elmas and Kvara are occupying like 4 defenders there. Because if one of them goes to Anguissa, then these 2 have one less guy to dribble past if Zielinski passes it to them. So they'd rather pick up Elmas or Kvara. They leave Anguissa totally free, and Zielinski with enough time to pick a pass. Anguissa gets the ball, turns around, and beats Onana with a powerful strike in goal. And yeah, all that is thanks to, I guess, our tactics. The fact that we are brave enough to put so many people forward, and that's not something that is going to be talked about enough. I want to shamelessly say once more, if you are enjoying this analysis, which, by the way, gets done by yours truly as I'm watching the game, and then we're ready 5 minutes afterwards. If you're liking that and you want to make me smile more, then smash that like button, and then I promise I will smile more. So yeah, let's move on, and then I'll get some more comments in a bit. Right, let's get to that substitution. We talked about it. Osimhen wasn't happy. Spalletti tried to explain it to him. I don't think this was very mature from Osimhen. I think he's been super mature all season. Hasn't put a foot wrong, hasn't said anything bad all season, hasn't done anything wrong. This, in a time when we're close to the transfer market, when there's issues potentially with Spalletti and this and that, it's not the best time to, stir things up. Not the best time, man. Could have avoided this. Once the coach makes a decision, just walk off and then talk about it behind closed doors if you really need to. But yeah, not the smoothest thing from him today. And as I said, all the new guys came on, Raspa, Simeone, all these guys, and they had a few chances. Here, Raspadori went around Onana. Great ball by Zielinski to him. He takes it around Onana and then just kind of trips on himself and isn't able to finish. And then we get this goal disallowed here where Zielinski's running down the middle. He trips on himself, lands awkwardly, but manages to just hook his foot just enough to pass the ball down to Kvara, who then passes it to Simeone, who just has to put it in the back of the net, which he does, but then the ref calls it off. But, there's no foul here. There is a clear contact between Zielinski and the ball. And yes, maybe Zielinski follows through with all his body, but dude, this is a contact sport. He got the ball. It's not dangerous play at all. Like, you can't ask for more contact on the ball than that. And there's absolutely nothing malicious in what Zielinski did. The guy was tripping over. Like, this has to be a goal. The fact that it isn't is, it's shameful. Absolutely shameful. And like 2 minutes later, Inter score. We don't clear the ball on our right-hand side. Di Marco picks up the scraps, whips in a great ball for Lukaku. I really liked Di Marco's progress this season. When I made a video last season with Uncle Sharma, who's the Inter YouTuber, we did our Napoli and Inter combined 11, and I put Di Marco on the left for me, and people were like, are you sure about this guy? Because last year Di Marco wasn't playing that well, and I'm like, guys, he's going to be an incredible player in the next few years, and he is developing into that. He can whip that ball incredibly well. And Lukaku just sticks his foot out, no? And Juan Jesus here, an experienced guy like him, was more worried about keeping Lukaku at bay rather than going to attack the ball. And so it's a strange mistake to make by an experienced player. So yeah, a bit weird, but it is what it is. It happened, and as we said earlier, he made this mistake, fair enough. He tends to make a few when he comes off the bench. Then maybe kind of made up for it later on for our third goal. So, it's the way life is. Let's go to some comments before we continue. Johnny Depp says, we should sell Osimhen this summer. This is definitely his max price of his career, and I think there are many strikers out there that fit our style much better. Awesome Comedy asks him which strikers, and he says there are many young ones that will be great. Ramos from Benfica for me is a major one. I like Ramos from Benfica. The one guy, if Osimhen leaves, I think the guy we need to put our money on is Kolo Muani from Frankfurt. I think he's the most direct replacement of Osimhen, and what he has that I think is better than Osimhen is I think he's a better assist man than Osimhen. Obviously not a better striker than Osimhen, like not a better goal scorer. But, this guy has played in a World Cup final, almost scored in the last minute, It was a great save by Martinez in the 120th minute. He's experienced big stages, plays for an important national team, and he's in that group. And I think for you to make your mark on that team, to go to that World Cup and be in that squad and play the World Cup final, like you must have shown. You've shown that you are an elite striker. And when we saw him play against Napoli, when he played for Frankfurt, yeah, he got sent off. It was childish. It reminds me of the maybe early Osimhen days where you make something, where you do something a bit rash. So he's still rough around the edges. But I remember he was the only menacing guy that we played against when we played that team, and put us under a lot of pressure. And I feel like if you just put him in a better team like Napoli, he's gonna really shine. So yeah, he's fast. He's good at assisting. Why not Kolo Muani? So yeah, Peymando believes that Bayern will get him. I mean, it makes sense. Bayern tend to do that quite a lot. Bayern tend to buy from the Bundesliga, and Bundesliga players, seem to be quite happy to go into Bayern. But if you are Kolo Muani, maybe you want a bit of a different experience, right? Maybe you say, okay, I've played in the German league, now I want to go to the Italian league. And Bayern right now, they're not the best Bayern in recent years, so maybe the appeal of playing for them is not even that high. And with Dortmund, did Dortmund win today? Let's just double check if Dortmund won today. Dortmund can win the title. They won 3-0 today. They've got one game remaining. If they win that game, they win the title. So, it's not the best Bayern team, and you could argue, yeah, because they don't have a number 9, and he comes in, saves the day next season. Maybe that appeals to him, or maybe he wants to try something different. I don't know. But let's see what happens. Right, then Di Lorenzo scores, and it's nice that the first thing that he did is that he went to Spalletti and hugged him. And I don't know, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into this. I remember when Gattuso was getting criticized, and there was rumors about him leaving, this and that. I remember that some players went and scored and celebrated with Gattuso, and then 3 days later, the guy left. So this doesn't mean that Spalletti stays. It doesn't necessarily mean that he leaves. It just means that the players like him, all right? Which, I mean, we already knew that. But let's talk about, this guy, Di Lorenzo, scored a goal, went to celebrate in front of the crowd, in front of the Curva B, took his time, went like this, pointed at the crowd, just a real captain, and just loving life at the moment. He loves this place. Called his daughter Azzurra, which means blue. He just loves to be here. And apart from that, he scored a great goal here. Anguissa with an assist. Remember, Anguissa scored a goal and assisted. So remember that when you then look at the player ratings. Anguissa with the assist finds that pocket of space. Di Lorenzo finds that pocket of space, turns around, shrugs off the player that's coming in behind him, and then just curls it so delicately in that top corner. Incredible stuff. Honestly, what a strike, what a player, what a captain. What a campione d'Italia Di Lorenzo is. Really, 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 I can't imagine this team winning the title without him. I don't think it would have been possible. Obviously, I can say that about 5 or 6 different players, and he's definitely one of them. And then we get to the best moment of the night, by far. Gaetano scoring. First Neapolitan since Insigne. 94th minute, last kick of the game. What a story. As a champion of Italy. And he just breaks down and cries, and he goes under the Curva B. I'm sure he was dreaming of this moment since he was 7 years old, when he first started playing for the Napoli youth team, just dreaming of a day like this, and he finally got it, and he's living the dream of every kid out there, which is incredible. And what a nice goal this was. So he takes a touch, it's a bit long, and you're thinking, whoa, maybe he's screwed this up here. And I thought, go on, man, chip it, you gotta chip it, it's the only way to score. And he does exactly that. Doesn't chip it over the goalkeeper because Onana stands quite tall. And I think he, on purpose, does this like mid-height chip, because if Onana doesn't, come down, he can't chip it over. But he can't, lace it because Onana's standing there. So he just needs to chip it just high enough that it passes Onana's leg and goes under the arm. And it was just beautiful. Like it kind of slightly touches the arm, there, and then it goes in. But I mean, we're talking about millimeters here. Like this was beautifully executed. Huge composure to do this, man. What a great moment. And here are my player ratings. I'm gonna start with Gaetano on the bottom right. He gets an 8 for that finish, for that moment that he gave us. Thank you, Gaetano. It was very emotional. The subs that came on, they didn't play horribly. Politano and Raspadori, but I didn't like them too much. Juan Jesus was gonna get below a 6, but then he was the one that recovered the ball to allow Gaetano to score, so he made up for that. Without Juan Jesus, this goal wouldn't have happened. So he saves himself with a 6 out of 10. And then out of the starters, before I go there, I want to give a 7 to Spalletti. I think the tactics were spot on. I think the subs that he made, apart from the Juan Jesus one, which we can say, okay, it has pros and cons, were spot on. Gets a 7 out of 10 for me. Doesn't get higher than that because I think maybe he should have kept Osimhen on a bit longer. Maybe 75th, 80th minute. I think he took him off just 5 minutes too early. Elmas didn't have the best game, but I liked it still. Same with Oliveira. Defense was solid, but honestly, Inter didn't really trouble us too much. Di Lorenzo gets an 8.5 for that spectacular goal. The midfield of Lobotka and Zielinski and Anguissa was incredible today. We talked about it. They played very good. Smooth, quick, short passing, fast-paced, exactly what you want. And Anguissa gets that man of the match for his assist and his strike and the performance that he put in the first half, the way he recovered the ball to get Gagliardini sent off. Just a complete performance, and I'm thinking even of bumping it up higher, because what more could this man do? What more can a midfielder give you? So, you know what, guys? I'm giving Anguissa a 10 today. I've decided you're gonna see some editing, because oh, the mic went off for 2 seconds. Let me put it on the chat. Let me put it. Yes, I know. Resolved already. So it seems yes, I know it's resolved. All right, all right. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if it's good enough. It should be good now. Should be good. I was about to say that. So what I said was Anguissa. For those of you that miss, because I think every time I mess around, that I try to do something, every time I try to like make a poll or try to edit one of the player ratings or something, it just completely ruins the whole mic situation. So I gotta watch out for that. But it should be good now. But what I said was I'm giving Anguissa actually a 10 out of 10 because there's nothing more he could have done as a midfielder. He won his individual battle with Gagliardini, got him sent off, got an assist in the second half, got a goal in the second half, came close in the first half. Like he did everything well. Like as a midfielder, he couldn't do anything extra. The other guys, they played really well too. Kvara, 8 out of 10. Amazing dribbling by Kvara. Really nice, really direct, all over the field. If only he had an assist or a goal, then he would have also had a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10 to really, cap it off. So, yeah. Thank you, guys. I see in the chat that you guys are, back on with the sound. That's good to know. I need to basically... YouTube just wants to screw me over. As soon as I touch something, then they're like, you know what? Maybe we should shut this guy up. It's like, no, dude, come on, keep me unmuted. So yeah, I don't know why YouTube does that to me. Anyways, let's go with Spalletti's press conference. That's my player ratings. I think more or less people can agree to that. And yeah, I think that should be fine with most people. I'm gonna start with actually Di Lorenzo, who says, he's explaining the goal. He says, I found some space in between the lines. I tried to shoot and it went well. It's a very important goal for the team. We wanted to win and I'm very happy. And they asked him, why did you go to Spalletti for the goal? And he says, look, Mr. Spalletti was really important for me and the team. I really like to, celebrate with him and the players. And they asked him, did you guys really care about, how much did you care about beating Inter, who's the Champions League finalist? And he said, look, we don't really care about that aspect. We spoke about the fact that Inter's the only team that we haven't beaten this year. And so we really wanted to do that for ourselves, not because they reached the Champions League final. And they asked him, would you like to close your career at Napoli? And he says, I'm very well and good at Napoli. For me, there's no problem. So my guy, Di Lorenzo, what a legend. What a legend. Absolute ledge of the sport and of Napoli. He's probably gonna rank top 10 all time for Napoli in terms of most important players. And that top 10 has some very important ones. So, yeah. Valerie says Anguissa is a very unstable player. He lost so many... No, Anguissa did well today. Assist for Di Lorenzo. Scored a goal. Got Gagliardini sent off. Great passing at times. Honestly, there's nothing more a midfielder could do. 10 out of 10 performance from a midfielder. I refuse to give him anything less than that. Let's see now. Spalletti at the zone. He says, they say, Spalletti, there was a lot of really good moments today, and he says, yes, especially the quality of the game that we had was very nice. Today there was a lot of stimulus for us because we had in front of us a team that reached the Champions League final, and we wanted to show that what we did this year was not because we were only dominating for a certain period of the season, but because we're a better team. It was important to beat Inter, and I'm very happy that we did that. They say, Di Lorenzo went up to you and, hugged you after he scored the goal. It's very difficult to imagine that the squad won't need you next year. And he says, the squad doesn't need anything and nothing. It knows how to play football, and it's been well constructed by the president and Giuntoli. The players have a lot of heart, quality, availability, and self-esteem. It becomes really easy with a team like this. Then there's also those players that have that little bit extra, including the Capitano Di Lorenzo. And they ask him, did you expect different days compared to the ones that you're living right now, obviously with the speculation of his future? And he says, in my position, everything is easy because people are inundating me with affection. This is what I've always wanted, and this is the best thing that could have happened to me. They ask him if he spoke to Osimhen, and he says, for me, the most important thing is that he is our striker, and that he works for the team. He can get mad, but when I have to make changes, it's not always because of me. There's other factors at play as well. Obviously, I want to give other people some playing time. We need to all work very calmly. And if sometimes some players are playing underneath their maximum capacity because that week they were not at their top, then it's also normal to accept that you get substituted. Let's not forget that when he was not there in the Champions League, Simeone was there and made lots of goals. Every other striker that we have is also very strong and deserves to play. Even Gaetano actually could be a striker, considering that's what he was earlier in his career. And in fact, everyone matters in this team. It's not just about Osimhen. Everyone matters. In fact, look at Gaetano, who scored today. The thing that matters is to have ball possession. That's the type of football that we like to play. And they ask him, what more do you need to clarify your future? And he says, I'm not waiting for anything. It's all decided. We only have to say it. We spoke with De Laurentiis and we said it's better to wait, but everything is decided. From that dinner that we had, everything is all clear. Interesting. Let me go into the press conference that he did, and then we'll comment these words, all right? Because they're very, very significant. He said that everything is clear, everything is settled, and that the only thing is missing is that we have to say it. We have to announce it. So let's see what else he says in the press conference. He says, look, Di Lorenzo's goal is a goal that you can expect from a guy like him. We know what kind of pasta Di Lorenzo is made out of. He's got some incredible quality. Giovanni is like a Frecciarossa train, always 2,000 kilometers per hour. He's a football player without a role, without a specific role. He can play anywhere and do everything. He came to hug me because we're at the end of the championship, and in every training session I asked him to come and hug me, to make me happy. I don't know if I believe that. About his future, he says, look, my future is already decided. It's not like we change idea every single day. It's something that was decided a long time back. Coming here and working every day from the morning until night, you have a lot of time to make an informed decision, to see what's in front of you. If you're not convinced to give this city everything it deserves, then it's correct to, reflect on that a little bit. And if you reflect on that and you reach a certain conclusion, then you gotta stick to that. So it seems like Spalletti is saying that he might quit. They ask him, is there something that might change your idea? And he says, we already spoke about enough. So he doesn't want to add any more comments to that. And about the game that Gaetano had, he says he entered the game very well. He immediately showed his quality. I mean, there was a time when he did a really good control, for example. So I think that's what Spalletti is referring to. On the goal wasn't easy. Playing very little, and with all the emotion that he has, it was not easy to score that goal. I'm very happy for him. He deserves it. Even in the past, he had a few different occasions, but he didn't score them, and I'm glad he finally did this time. They ask him, is this the most beautiful team that you've trained? And he says, I don't know. Sometimes you let yourself get influenced by the final results. I had the chance to train many beautiful teams, even when I was at Inter and we were at the top of the table, and then we lost ourselves because of a few external situations. This team was very strong for long periods of the season, and this is evident for everybody. Football, we play beautiful football, and we have a lot of strong players, but I've also coached other very strong players. Today, it was a very good game and a very good team. They ask him, against Monza, the guys on the bench didn't play too well. And he says, yeah, but it wasn't because of the players that were playing. Even today, we lost a few balls that were, not like us to do. If we don't close the space, then it can happen like what happened with Milan, that we concede a goal. So we need to always be careful about that. We always need to be careful with those kind of things. And they ask him, do you regret the game against Milan? And he says, yeah, for sure. Even though Milan deserved to go through for those 2 games, we played 2 courageous games, but in those games some things happened that maybe were out of our control, which he's probably talking about the referee. So that's Spalletti. So Spalletti seems like he might be leaving Napoli. Wow. Let's see what Gaetano said to. Let's hear before we comment Spalletti's words. Let's see what Gaetano says. Gaetano says, everybody has always shown me a lot of love in this club. Today I'm gonna go straight to my daughter. I can't wait to hug her. Oh, that's cute. And tell us your emotions at Udine. And he says, I can't explain the joy as a Napoletano to win a Scudetto. It was incredible at Udine. Spalletti had beautiful words for me. I hope to win more Scudetti with this Napoli team. This shirt means everything to me. This city submerges me with affection, and I just want to stay here. Spalletti is a great coach, and he helped me improve a lot. My role models are Pogba and Hamsik, but right now I am Gianluca Gaetano. I'm always going to give it my all in every training session. I've got guys like Lobotka and Anguissa in front of me that are having a great season, but I try to be ready whenever I can. And right now I'm gonna go on vacation in the next few weeks and see what happens. Right, so that was Gaetano, guys. Let me get your comments first, because you listened to all of that. Let me read some of your comments while I get some water. All right. By the way, in the poll, you guys are saying that Elmas' best position is either right wing or inside mid, with 81 votes, and they're splitting those 32 and 33%. So one of those two. It's very unclear what Elmas' best position is. I'm gonna end the poll. Hopefully the mic doesn't cut off this time. And let's see some of your comments. Johnny Depp says Napoli can get players targeted by big clubs now. It's the perfect club for players trying to make the next big move. I don't know. I mean, now is it a club for players making the next big move? I mean, you could argue that Napoli is already a big club. So I don't know. I mean, unless you're talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona and these guys, yeah. But I mean, when you go to these clubs, most times you've got to then fight for your spot. And so it's like, would you rather be with Napoli, where you're playing every game, you're loved, you can win titles now, or would you rather go to a place like Man City and do, like, for example, Riyad Mahrez, where you're playing one every 3 games? You're still an important player, but you're not playing every game. So what would you rather do, right? And that depends on every individual. Then obviously there's the financial aspect at play, where obviously those clubs can offer you a much bigger salary. Right, Claudine Sermisi says, thank you, Dom. Forza Napoli. No, thank you guys for engaging so much. Payman. This kills me. Payman says, Jesus without Spalletti makes no sense. Sad Spalletti's leaving. I love how... That killed me. I love how his worry is, in this whole situation, is that Spalletti leaves and we're left like idiots with Juan Jesus in our dressing room, and like, we've just renewed this guy's contract, as if that's the problem. It's like Spalletti himself leaving is not the problem. The problem is Spalletti leaving Juan Jesus behind. That's the problem. I love it. I love how desperate Payman is to never see that guy on a football field again. He's basically, Juan Jesus for him is basically like Lozano for me, pretty much, which is really funny. I love it, you know. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I love it. We're talking a lot today, huh? I'm drinking a lot of water. How much are we? Yeah, we're like an hour and 15. What does Spalletti want to stay at Napoli, says Awesome Comedy? Good question. Look, I think what happened here was that Spalletti wanted De Laurentiis to show a bit more respect. Let's call it respect towards him. You know, you just won him Spalletti just won De Laurentiis the title. And De Laurentiis apparently just sent him like a formal email saying like, I'm renewing your contract, without actually speaking to him in person, this and that. And Spalletti didn't like this like detachment, right? He wanted a bit more love. Spalletti wanted that. Apparently, that's what the journalists are saying. I personally don't believe that. I mean, these are official documents coming through. You know, sometimes you gotta, like, I'm sure the lawyers told him to do it like this, right? I don't know. I mean, what's bad is when you get fired with an email, right? Not when someone congratulates you and says, well done, here's an extra year on your contract. Like, if things are going well, you don't really mind if it comes through an email or not, or if it comes in person. Like, yeah, you would prefer in person, but the lawyers must be also saying, look, we got to send an official email before we speak to him, because, you know, if you speak to him, then you show your cards, then he might use this in some sort of way. I don't really know, right? At the end of the day, Napoli, the only thing they did was they maybe lacked a bit of personal touch. That's what some of the journalists are saying. Maybe Spalletti also said, look, De Laurentiis made some comments about wanting to win the Champions League in the next few years. And he's worried that if now Napoli don't win the Champions League, it's going to be a failure. It's going to be reflected as a failure for Spalletti, that he will get the blame for it. And Spalletti, it's not that he wants to shy away from the Champions League. It's that he would say then, he probably said to De Laurentiis, look, you want to win the Champions League? Okay, great. You have to keep Kim, Osimhen, and Kvara, and a bunch of, and Lobotka, and all these guys. And you have to buy me X, Y, and Z. Maybe De Laurentiis says, no, I'm not going to buy you X, Y, and Z. Why should I? We should have reached the Champions League final with this very team. It's your fault that we're not there. because it's your fault you couldn't beat Milan, even though we're a better team. So maybe something like that happened. I don't really know. Or, and this was my theory that I wanted to make a video about, but whatever, I'll say it now. My theory is also that they're trying to take some of the attention off the players, and they're creating this whole situation themselves to, they're like, let's spread the rumors to the journalists that something is off between us, so that they speak about this and they leave the players alone, and they don't talk about Osimhen, and they don't talk about Kim, and they don't talk about Kvara. And we keep that going for about a month, and then finally I'll sign the renewal or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a way to protect the players. I don't know. It's usually not the case like that, but De Laurentiis loves a bit of cinema, so I don't put anything past him. And yeah, Spalletti doesn't seem too upset when he comes out of training sessions, this and that. Every video that I saw, he seems quite happy. So I don't really know. If we sign a new coach, it should be De Zerbi, says Johnny Depp. That would be cool. De Zerbi, ex-Napoli player. That would be cool. I think, there's a few guys out there that I think could continue his work quite well. You've got De Zerbi from Brighton, obviously. Nagelsmann from Bayern is available. I think Napoli winning the Scudetto and having this type of squad, there's a few managers that would say, you know what? Yeah, I would go to Napoli and coach these guys. So I personally would love Spalletti to stay. I would love Spalletti to stay. 100%. And as Danger is saying right now, says he was like a father to all the players, I would love him to stay. And he's so good at understanding the fans. He has exactly the right thing to say. Having said that, not all things are meant to last forever, and at some point things change. I hope it doesn't happen now, but if they do change, I know for a fact that this is the best position we've ever been in terms of how likely we are to attract top talent, including players and coaches. So I have a feeling that even if he leaves, we're going to be okay. I hope he stays, but it's not like he left and we have a bad team or an aging team or lots of debt. I don't know. We're in a good position, right? Where, there's 3 or 4 coaches out there that could do well with this team. Let's be honest. Anybody would do well with Kvara and Osimhen. Well, not anybody, but you know what I mean. A Nagelsmann, a De Zerbi, of course they would do well with this team. So am I worried? Ni. It's not a no, and it's not a C. It's a ni. Do you see Tanguy going back? No, he's not. He's not coming back to Napoli. And Dombele, no way. It costs too much. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end it there. It's nearly 10 p.m. for me, so that's been fun. It's been a fun live. Sorry I didn't catch the one against Monza. I was kind of hesitant to do it or not because I was super busy, and then we lost anyways, and I just thought, you know what, I'll take this one. I'll take this holiday. So yeah, super sorry I wasn't there though for Monza and I didn't give you guys a heads up, but we were back today. We won against Inter. We got this 3 points. Gaetano scored a lovely goal. Captain Di Lorenzo scored. Anguissa scored. It was a very good 90 minutes of football, very good play, and yeah, hopefully this whole Spalletti thing just settles down in the next few days. But I think we're gonna have to wait until the last game of the season. So yeah, I think it's gonna be. And you know what? I have a feeling, because we're gonna have a party on the last game of the season, I have a feeling that it's gonna be announced that he renews at the party, and it's gonna be like a big fireworks. I don't know. I'll make a video about it hopefully soon, but that's my feeling. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, smash that like button if you've enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, And as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.